is going to every single LAN. Like, of course, they're going to LAN because they're the most consistent team, sure. But then at the end of the day, they're also going to LAN and getting that experience and playing better on LAN. And thus, that is why oftentimes we will refer to teams as LAN teams who thrive under this pressure because they have that experience. They have that wherewithal, that have that history of success and, you know, amount of matches played to draw off of.
Yeah, and a lot of these, I mean, pretty much everybody here has the capacity, but there are still teams that have yet to realize they have that capacity. All that said, we are moving on to map number 2. Finally, Oregon, and Element Mystic will be starting on defense. On attack will be EG. Now, I don't think we got to see what the bans were, but hopefully we'll have them up on your screen shortly. And hopefully they won't be in the wrong side this time. Because I was so confused when I saw those up at the top. I'm like, that was weird. I wrote it down differently.
I swear it wasn't like that. But that is okay. Anywho, we'll be starting on kids' dorms. Now, you could see immediately that Mira is not banned, which is a bit of a surprise. But Mira's position being played the way that it is, this is a heavy investment in kitchen. Obviously, you're almost always going to have a heavy investment in kitchen when you're playing on Oregon, especially when you're playing on kids' dorms. You know, there are a few spots, there are a few sites on this map where you're not actually going to be playing in kitchen. Maybe tower, but even then, it's not uncommon to see somebody played there. The biggest problem with this is that Evil Geniuses has BC, who likes to put himself in the kitchen, of course, because the Skeleton Key can do an extreme amount of work on that ceiling / floor of the site in small dorms.
Yeah, and EG as a whole has a really well-established formula to clear out roamers and allow BC that position. It's efficient, yet and not fully committed. You can see they're going to be putting about 3 players on taking this kitchen, maybe 4, but not the entire unit. Sweet Black is going to lose his wall and his ADS. Only a minute used here from EG, and it looks like even some... Oh, wow, what a shot from Envy, actually. Anticipating that EG would go for the cafeteria push and able to get a kill from the mirror window. What a play there from Element Mystic.
This is no doubt why they'd set that up exactly the way they wanted to, and they're going to try to pressure the defenders. Sweet Black is going to escape towards back stairs / the rear tower. Canadian's going to get the first kill for EG. That's Envy Taylor. And one body from Element Mystic prone at the top of white stairs has not been figured out, though if they were able to silence their phone fast enough, you wouldn't have heard that somebody was up there. However, the pinging of the phone would give that position away. Sweet Black in a great position to possibly go for a flank. Is somebody watching? Is somebody listening? Sweet Black walks right in. Oh, Canadian, what a flick! Gets out of there with next to no health, but takes the head off of Sweet Black swiftly with Young adding to it, taking out Hetty, and there's a minute to go, and you can see Young, BC, and Canadian are dangerous and scarily close to being removed from this map and this equation, but Neilio and Oni-chan just need to try to hang on and wait for them.
We talked about this just earlier, actually. They are right now in the dream position to hold this site. You have top of white control, and you have dorms control. That's really what you need to defend the top floor of Oregon. That's it. Those are the 2 positions. So with 3 lit EG players and only 30 seconds left, this is totally doable. Necrox will get Oni-chan because Neilio unable to hold the flank. A second, though, for Neilio. After finishing off Necrox, he also gets BC on Repel. He has the diffuser down. He spots the Zofia, goes for the pre-fire, misses the shots, but follow-up will be successful. The final attacker, Young, on the hallway window is going to vault in and go for the fight. Neilio has such a distinct advantage right now with HP, and he will win it. A 4K for the Jaeger and the round victory.
And that's, like you said, a dream scenario for them. You've got 3 members of the team with next to no health, with one of the best guns on defense in the hands of Jaeger, and what happens is they all have to push in from the same direction, one by one by one, and then they get picked off, and that's EG losing that round, and Element Mystic winning it. So,
I mean, you don't want to take away from the clutch there from Neilio, because that was...
Oh, no, absolutely. That was all Neilio.
That was all him. But that is the perfect scenario to get that clutch. Now, he had to follow that up by not making any mistakes, and he did that. But he was given the opportunity, and he seized it. is really the thing we're trying to get at here.
And that was them actually pulling through. I mean, if this is border, that's a round that they lose.
Yeah.
That's a round you lose. You're in a 2v4. That was the reverse that just happened to you. You just got EG'd by, you know, they just EG'd themselves, I suppose.
Yes.
Because
they turned themselves into EG.
They did it.
The last map.
They did it.
What happened?
Border. So overall, pretty good defense to start off with. Things got a little hairy there. It was an inventive strategy or interesting strategy playing inside of the bathroom, looking all the way down. And, you know, Canadian got that flick on the Sweet Black, which in all reality, he probably had zero actual business getting. That was a monstrously impressive shot.
Canadian should have died there.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And that is, you know, Michael, if they maybe gave the MPX like 1 or 2 more, 3 more damage, like Canadian would have lost that. What do I know? I'm just a caster.
Doesn't need a buff.
Anywho. Looking out on Oregon, Kidstorm starting things off. Interesting that they'd go there first. I mean, Kidstorm's also still that one site or small dorms, technically. It's Kidstorm.
It's the dorms.
This is dorms.
The dorms.
There's 3 dorms, man.
The top floor. We can call it the top floor, kind of.
Top floor.
Yeah.
They now get to go down to Laundry and Supply Room, which really could be an easier site for them to defend. And they could have just gifted themselves an opportunity where they've now, you know, you can take the first 2 rounds, great start, and then you've taken 2 of the 5 through the first half.
Yeah, it's possible. However, I think a lot of it comes down to how Evil Geniuses choose to handle their attack. I mean, I think honestly, if I have a defender at the top of white and a defender in dorms, in any scenario, if the attackers don't have any tools in hand to deal with that, I'd rather be there than any other defense on this map. You know, the basement is better for some teams, but you know, personal preference. That's the dream situation. Yeah. If you're dealing with a frontal attack in through the main lobby, then it can be kind of hard to deal with that if the attackers have the right tools in hand. If you have a Mira ban, for example, again, I don't think I got to see the bans yet, but
I believe if I recall correctly, it was like a Vigil and Lion were banned.
Yeah.
Mira was not.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we saw a Mira.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we saw the Mira. Yeah. So we're gonna see probably a Mira be present on the basement, which means the defense there will be a lot more stalwart, and we'll probably have it be a very viable site. However, you know, you're comparing top floor and bottom floor, and they're both totally great. And it's like, you can't really go wrong.
We also saw Hibana in action and Amira in action, which, if true, the fact that we might be playing an Oregon match with neither of those banned is pretty odd. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're taking Vigil being banned out. I'm assuming that is probably a direct counter ban to Evil Geniuses, because we know they like running Vigil an awful lot. He's a monster on defense as well. He's got 2 great guns. Yeah. You know, well, technically 3 because the C75 is actually not that bad, but I mean, why would you ever use it over the SMG-12?
Yeah.
And then he's got the K1A, which is great. He can wreak havoc because, especially on tower, you know how powerful a Vigil can be. With the radius around his gadget, he can be playing on multiple levels of tower, and you don't know where he is. That's a really crucial operator to have. And if teams win successfully twice, they have to go to tower. He could be a menace. So I would imagine that was a big factor in why they probably him out of the action.
Yeah, we'll find out. And then we do also see a lot of Alibi being played, which is kind of a different operator but it fills kind of a similar role to Vigil. Not the same, but you know, both of them don't really have a whole lot of team-based utility, and they both have good guns. So lots of fragging. I'd actually argue that Alibi technically has more team utility because she has the shotgun pistol as well as the impact, so it's like a little bit more versatile to support your you know, and construct the site. Right. And that's pretty much what or the most that either of them can do as operators for their team, apart from just zoning and roaming in certain areas.
So Evil Geniuses banning Ying doesn't really surprise me because Element Mystic ran Ying a number of times, and once you know a team runs Ying, it's pretty commonplace to see them get banned. A good example is in North America, Mouse Sports often will run a Ying, and she gets target banned most times against them, just because it's one of those things. And she's an operator that oftentimes is not fun to play around.
Right. So, Evil Geniuses, heavy roam on, or sorry, rather, Element Mystic heavy roam on the top west floor. And they will be using Sweet Black on that Alibi that we talked about to try and put pressure on the attackers as they start their push. You can see EG is actually kind of dedicated to clearing from the west side. It's a dangerous thing to pull off. It can be somewhat costly, especially if your opponents are invested at themselves heavily in holding that top floor. And it seems like Element Mystic really is. They are dedicating themselves to this.
I mean, Oregon is that map where we often will see the 2-1-2 or the 1-2-2, right? Where there's going to be one person on the top, one person on the main floor, maybe two on the top, etc. If you're defending the basement, you usually have 1 to 2 roamers on another level, and then one on the other.
The reason, the dangerous thing about that 2-1-2 or the 2-2-1 is that there's only a third floor on some parts of the map, and that's what we've always talked about. Is like the reason the attackers clear out the west side is because you clear out the west side, and then the defenders can't get back there.
Right.
Interesting thing here, Evil Geniuses has cut off rotation for the defense, at least into the attic. So as soon as MV Taylor starts to fall back that direction, he will be caught out and killed.
First phone call is going to go, probably signal a push here. Sweet Black playing around the decoys inside of kids' dorms. NV Taylor in generator. He's got to rotate onto the white stairs if need be. And it also looks like a rotate into attic. So lots of fluidity for Element Mystic here if they really do want to try and get the hell out of Dodge as quickly as they can. NVK seeing that punch hole in the wall will go for a pre-fire. He'll end up hitting the decoy. Good position, but he'll just scamper off without really the defender's able to capitalize.
I mean, that's the second time he's hit one of those alibis, actually, and he has wasted a lot of time because of it. And if he had meleeed that window, he might be able to get a kill, or might have been able to get a kill, but unfortunately, he's just going to go over to the front door, and he's going to start looking for, I guess, a flank watch, potentially. Meanwhile, the rest of EG is mostly just pushing from construction. They have opened up that main lobby drop-down, but they've shifted pretty heavily over to the north side.
Yeah, NVK still here watching flank watch, and there's BC who'd been doing some work earlier. You could hear with the skeleton key. Hetty, though, oh no, getting a team kill. That is not great to do, finding Element Mystic now in quite a big hole, and it will get larger as Young and NVK add to that, meaning that just NV Taylor was last alive, and EG will lock out round number 2. That was a flawless round.
Yeah, and a really one-sided round at that. Wasn't much to say about that one. I guess NVK wasted a lot of time on the west window, but I think he was just trying to hold the defenders there. I want to say what happened there internally with EG is NVK said to his team, hey guys, there are a couple of people roaming up here. His team droned it out. They saw that there were in fact 2 roamers on the west side. Then the call from EG was, okay, instead of pushing them, let's just go construction. And NVK, you linger and keep them distracted. Well, NVK did just that. Evil Geniuses pushed in construction. And since NVK was playing Ash, which is, you know, one of the more maneuverable operators out there, he was able to get back into the fight when it really came down to it on the site push. So props to EG reading that situation properly and distracting Element Mystic. You know, it's kind of weird. Usually the distraction is done onto the attackers instead of by the attackers. So a little bit different than what I'm used to.
We'll see how much of an investment they'll actually do on the main floor now. Also, NVK mentioned that NVK was on a flank watch there. You saw he got the last 2 kills, both on flank, last rounds.
Yep.
Obviously, things working out quite well.
5 seconds remaining.
Evil Geniuses oftentimes do not run a Thatcher. You will see them run a Twitch from time to time, especially if Canadian wants to play the Twitch. That means that Element Mystic running the Mute is going to potentially present a problem. Also, did you make comment about the fact that the mirror is on the other side?
I did not see where it was placed. Oh, on the inside of the, okay.
Yes.
No, the
not like inside around. Like.
Yeah, I gotcha. So I guess you're just trying to make it so you can rotate a little bit more freely over by box, because this way there's not a giant hole where the defenders can look through the drop down on catch you mid-rotation. Especially if you're anticipating a push from the north side coming from construction, then you want to be able to play in that little corner. It's a very small pixel angle, but a relevant one regardless. You can see Hetty is actually, you know, playing mostly facing north. It also gives you more direct engagement. When you're coming around the corner, trying to challenge Closet as an attacker, say you've got control of box, you're going to immediately start pre-aiming the far corner inside of Closet. If somebody's up close, they can immediately fight back. They don't have to adjust. There is no shifting involved, you know? It's just peek the corner. So It's possible that they're just anticipating more pressure from construction, which stands to reason given that Evil Geniuses in the previous round pressured from construction.
Oni-chan had sent a C4 up through the open hatch, and you can hear another lobby hatch drop, as well as Element Mystic is going to coalesce around the site. They'll try to silence their phone, and NVK gets inadvertently team concussed from one of the Zophias from Canadian.
It's also, side note, it's also better for if the attackers choose to try and drop from the main lobby drop, because then you can cut them off.
So we see NVK working his way through Meeting Hall. One player of Element Mystic on the back stairs will now manage to find safety somewhere else. Oni-chan inside of blue with a mute jammer, so we'll be sitting down in case a phone call comes off. This is possibly could be a major issue for Evil Geniuses if they don't figure out exactly what the mute is up to, because they're not going to be able to call the mute. They can't necessarily be the most proficient at droning out the mute either. Sweet Black gets the first kill. That's the Smoke, who is pushed very far up on the stairs. Takes out Young, the Hibana down. A grenade will sail in, and oh, Necrox there to catch Sweet Black as a grenade from BC will draw him out. Final 40 seconds, and you can see that still Oni-chan playing inside of blue. One smoke will get tossed in from the Dokkaebi. NVK position on the back of the stairs to see if anybody's going to rotate. They've got him watching flank still. He did so successfully last round. It makes a lot of sense. BC will shred through Neilio. Hetty pushing his way up towards the hatch. Sees two at the bottom, but the Vector, can it capitalize? Gets Necrox, but does not down Canadian. Now NVK sprinting in, springs into action exactly when he has to. He's got good sights on the bottom of the stairs and now has complete control. He sees one and takes him out, and this is EG in great position. Hetty with very low HP will get BC, but not much left, and the Mira will have a lot of work cut out for her. Tries to drop it, NVK will seal the deal, giving EG 2 in a row and giving them the lead for the first time in this game.
Something really stood out to me in that round, and has been standing out to me actually very recently from Evil Geniuses, and MVK in particular, that very much excites me. I'm seeing colors of the older NVK from back in the way in the beginning. You know, partially it's because he's playing Ashe again, but also partially it's his style of play. One thing I remember distinctly about NVK as a player is he is incredibly patient when he knows what he needs to accomplish. For example, if he's trying to push in through the garage in Bank and he sees you holding garage, he is, in the past when it was super easy to hold garage because the glass was indestructible on the black SUV, all he would do is wait until eventually you as a defender would rotate out of that garage, and then the second you did, he would pounce. Even if there's only 15 seconds left on the clock, he would somehow make that opportunity work for him. And that's what we just there witnessed. He was playing on the tower stairs, and a lot of people, I'm sure, were confused as to why he was being so passive. In that situation, he was waiting for the flank. But as soon as he realized that every single one of the players was fully committed to denying the defuse plant or the push in through the main lobby, NVK swooped in from behind. And you could tell, if you really pay attention, you can tell that he's not just guessing, he is actually counting players that are allocated to one thing or another on his opponent's team, and he is making a calculated decision for all of his pushes. And I just have to say, I'm super excited to see this old color from NVK, because I feel like it's been missing for a while, and I just love to see it again from him.
Absolutely. He's had a bit of an odd 2 seasons now. Same with Jonas as well for Penta, who was primarily their main frag chaser. He's been lighting it up today and has been doing quite well in Pro League 2. So both of them may be a nice return to form for both. One thing that I do want to mention, during the prep phase, Canadian's Twitch drone was able to get the Mira window before losing his drone. So that right there could have completely taken care of this defense. As you can see, the Mira window is indeed open, which is going to make it so that EG can just push with a lot more ease and freedom. Now NVK doesn't look like he's going to fall for it again, as Envy Taylor is not going to get that 2 times in a row. He will completely vaporize the Legion who is playing inside a bathroom, and now Sweet Black could potentially be next on deck. We'll have to get out using the wall and pantry as a means to escape through Meeting Hall, and we'll leave without taking a single scratch.
Well, luckily for him, he's going to be able to continue to roam. However, the pressure is going to continue to mount at the same time for the anchors in the site. Sweet Black going to rotate back through Attic, though, so good on him to be able to support his teammates or come back to a position where he can do so. Now, this is the big worry. You talked about BC on Buck from Evil Geniuses prior, and now BC is outside, but at any moment he could come inside and start applying the vertical pressure. Doesn't look like that's what they're trying to do, though, and NVK is going to apply some of his own vertical pressure and get his second kill in the round, and all of the, well, I say all of the kills as BC gets a nade through the window. It's really working out for EG in this round so far. Rapid fire kills.
Oni-chan has been downed, and that's going to leave Sweet Black as the only member of Element Mystics still up. Necrox will pounce upon Oni-chan, getting the kill before stepping in a glue mine. He's the last one there, and that SMG-12 doesn't even need to reload, just simply trucks on that needle in his foot. Doesn't matter, undeterred. And gets the kill, EG 3-1.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very big lead now, being extended for EG. And I have to say, everything about what I'm seeing from Evil Geniuses right now is reminiscent of older Evil Geniuses and more enthusiastic Evil Geniuses. I talked about earlier how, you know, you look at the faces of EG when they're playing and they're not, you know, they're not jumping for joy or, you know, screaming at the top of their lungs or anything like that. They seem hyper-focused. But at the same time, it's this air of determination that is, it's really readily apparent. Now, we're going to have a tactical pause for Element Mystic. They're going to try and stop the bleeding here and establish some sort of a strategy to combat Evil Geniuses.
We knew going into this would be a tall task for Element Mystic to be able to be as competitive as Evil Geniuses, simply based on a couple factors, mostly around the fact that Element Mystic's experience outside of APAC is very, very limited.
Yeah.
Let alone the fact that you're going against a team that has, you know, had pretty decent performances in the last couple events that they've taken part in. Obviously, the tactical pause will hopefully help them right this ship to some extent. They've had only really one good round over the last little while, and it was in all honesty quite a good showing for them. But they're in danger of possibly only taking one round out of this first split.
Yeah, well, they are in fact one round away from only taking one round of the first split. So they're going to have to make something happen here and now. They choose to go to tower, which is, I mean, an interesting decision. It could net them a win, although I just don't see this catching EG off guard. It's going to come down to how Element Mystic choose to play it. The main thing is there might be something that Element Mystic is going to use, some sort of tool that they have up their sleeves that EG has just never really dealt with before. And that could very well get EM the win. However, it's not going to be because of tower. That's probably not going to be it.
I'm curious to see exactly how Neilio deploys this Ella plays. Put one Kashmat on the meeting hall doorway and then another at the back of tower in a position where usually we'll see Ellas hold on to them and then play them in very specific places when trying to hold down and anchor a site that may not be the main site but just slightly off. Of course, Sweet Black with 30 seconds in is still throwing out some cameras. The last black eye is thrown out of the armory window. Now, Neilio is going to be at the top of the tower. This is a place that we've actually seen Ella played an awful lot. Mutes have played up here before with mute jammers, making it very tough to drone them, as well as vigils, too. So this will give Neilio a pretty good command of those windows. And, of course, the Scorpion shreds at close distances, so it would be sensible to try and take these fights at this close-range engagement.
The big thing with an operator you're going to play at the top of towers, they need to be able to disrupt their opponents in some way or another. The Vigil can do it by denying being droned, so you can not have a definitive position. The Ella can do it using those Gersmots and just, you know, explosion. Okay, you can't fight me now. And the Mute can do it by having the jammer and not being able to be droned, but also can have jammers elsewhere. And Sweet Black can make it happen by getting a C4 onto Canadian, getting rid of the Twitch. Now, there is no Mira, but it was reasonable for EG to bring a Twitch in this situation, assuming there might be one. And regardless, he's not going to be any influence in this round.
Sweet Black, of course, getting that intel from the Valkyrie camera that we just saw very briefly, likely hopping out the window and expending that C4 in order to net the kill. That's good. You've taken probably the most powerful fragging weapon on the attacker's side, the F2, out of the equation. Really, the only thing you got to worry about now is that SMG-12, the pocket rocket. There goes one of the mines from Neilio, and that will at least alert them to to the location of, I believe that was Young who wandered into it.
Well, there's only a minute left, actually. It's been a very slow round thus far, and it hasn't really seemed that way. And as Hetty gets NVK, Necrox will immediately respawn, but it's still an advantage in favor of, I say that as Young gets Oni-chan. So an even 3-3 here, 40 seconds left. And EM are doing their best to hold on to this tower. EG going for a very standard meeting hall push. And it's thus far been a bit of a back and forth.
I think they realize that they're running out of time, and they need to make this play happen immediately. You know, Tower is like we say many times, Tower is at one very similar to CEO, where either a push happens very quickly or it takes till the very, very end to see the fruits of your labor be quite successful. Young, though, is on a tear at the moment as Neilio will fall. Necrox gets one, and they have absolutely turned this around as Envy Taylor is last man standing for Element Mystic. Diffuser plant going down, and Envy Taylor will have to walk through the smoke, but Necrox holding the window. That will be EG winning all but one, and Element Mystic not really finding much success here on Oregon in comparison to Border. 4-1 on Border through the first half, and 4-1 on Oregon now 2.
So Mystic, last time when they went into the second half, they managed to get a single round win, and then they lost 2 in a row, and the match was over. Are we going to see that happen yet again? Is Mystic going to, you know, start a proper comeback? I mean, we talked about this before. Oregon is not exactly EG's best map.
Right.
They're definitely comfortable here because they've played here so many times. There's no way that they don't have crazy amounts of experience on Oregon. However, this seemingly would be the opportunity for Element Mystic to get that win and put us onto map number 3. However, that doesn't seem to be happening, at least not from what we saw in the first map, or first half, rather. So I like what I'm seeing here. Sweet Black 6-picking on to the Blitz. Canadian allowed to play Pulse, as he is not banned in this match, or at least map. He was banned in the previous one. And Canadian, Pulse, Oregon, that's a scary thought.
Of course, they've taken the Vigil off, so he's just going to go on Pulse here. One thing, too, that I've really noticed about Evil Geniuses is they temporarily were flirting with the role swaps that we mentioned at the start of the broadcast. They had BC was playing more of a roam role. Canadian even played Smoke, if we recall correctly. They're back to the old reliable here. Now, we haven't really seen too many deviations from the roles that they usually play. You got Necrox playing Smoke, you got Young on Anchor. That makes a lot of sense.
I have to say, I'm really happy, and I mean this seriously. I'm really happy to see, especially NVK back on Jaeger Ash, because the Jaeger Ash NVK of old was a frightening thing that you could not mess with, and he's been having not the best seasons, not the worst. He's been playing all right, but not up to the name NVK. That huge mantle that hangs above him, and seeing him the way it's not exactly the operators he's playing, but somehow the style in which he's playing has shifted entirely, and it's turned into that old NVK kind of lurk status where he always takes a fight that he knows he's going to win. And that's one thing in particular that's really standing out for me for EG. And I know I've mentioned it already, but it is exciting to see again.
Right now, this Pulse play of Canadian is going to be a pretty good power position as he convenes a meeting with BC in the first floor bathroom. And this is information that will be consistently provided to his team. Canadian's staple on this map is, of course, Pulse. We see him play it on most sites, as that scanner only being 9 meters, mind you, but it can still detect pretty much what Canadian wants at the ranges that he's going to play it at. Element Mystic, for this round in particular, let me bring you along both a Blitz and a Dokkaebi. Dokkaebi not really that out of the ordinary, but the Blitz is going to be a focal point, I think, for their push. And likely expecting a laundry supply room take, but no, Sweet Black's just worked his way in, drops the shield, gets Young, but Necrox trades it off. So you basically traded a Mira. What is going on? Necrox out of nowhere. That's 3 kills for him. He's got them all. He's going to try and fire into the smoke. Doesn't see a target, but BC is there to shut down Oni-chan, and Hetty, the last man and the last remnant of what was an all-or-nothing play. A big move from Necrox to get those 3 kills will push Evil Geniuses to match point, and Element Mystic probably not feeling the most positive with today's results. Not having the greatest of days so far.
No, they've only managed to win 3 rounds total in this best of 3, and it does not look as if they're going to be able to get any more. Evil Geniuses are running away with it right now. Necrox a 4K in that last round in response to Nelio's 4K earlier in the match that allowed Element Mystic to actually get their very first round win. That was on the very first round, and they're only 1 cent. So good on Necrox there, good on Amar to manage to push that out. Now, what could be potentially the very last round is going to come in, and EG are going to be able to defend Laundry Room, Supply Room to potentially bring us there. Rook coming out from NVK, something you don't often see, and I talked about how he's bringing him back to Jaeger. Well, he's bringing him back to Rook, too. He's going all the way. Some older roles that, again, have kind of fallen out of favor. I think EG is just kind of having... If I'm going to be honest, they're enjoying themselves.
They're having fun with it.
Yeah, they are having fun.
They're absolutely having fun with it.
And that might seem a little bit derogatory, but honestly, it's clear by their play. And we'll see if they're able to continue doing that, or if it will eventually be shut down by Element Mystic.
I mean, there's a couple thoughts with when this kind of stuff happens. You know, when you see operators that don't necessarily get trotted out. You know, we've seen Evil Geniuses run Caveira and Frost and stuff along those lines, in which, you know, they obviously insist, oh, we're not just doing it for funsies, but at the same time, you know, it's...
It also could be they're trying to hide things, you know? It's entirely possible that they don't want to give away all of their strategies in this match. Maybe they don't feel the need to, and they're going to reserve them for future endeavors.
Absolutely. And the castle strat in particular, look like they castled off the double doorway downstairs. Element Mystic is running the same composition that we saw last time around. Yeah, I mean, it didn't really work for them. They were able to take a lot of ground away from Evil Geniuses, but then Evil Geniuses just snapped back and retook it.
I think that they do need that blitz, though. They need something. Element definitely needs a blitz, a Blackbeard, you know, something to give them a distinct edge. A Glaz, they could be bringing Glaz, you know. They do have a Dokkaebi, so more tools that you know the operators I'm talking about, Parker. And
yeah, I think they need some strong. I think honestly, what they need more than anything is they need to assess the teamwork, because a lot of times, like I said on Border, they're often just looking in the wrong direction. I don't know if it's bad calls. Communication could be the killer right now for them, if I'm allowed to delve into that alliteration. But I'm not entirely certain, and it's something that they're going to have to figure out. Tomorrow they do play the loser of Millennium versus Immortals, which isn't really that much of an easier matchup. But here you see the Rook and Necrox. What? This happened last time too. Necrox able to take the shield out, watching, as now Hetty can possibly get Nathan Valenti, and he will, as the Rook finished off inside of Meeting Hall, and then logic bombs are going to alert the attackers to where the defenders are playing. This is at least a decent start for Element Mystic. This is in a position where it's much more winnable for them than a lot of the previous rounds.
However, they did lose their blitz, like you said, same as last time, after the first kill he was able to establish, which is not a lot of use out of a shield. 1 minute left is all EG has to stall out in order to win this match outright. You can see 3 anchors downstairs, 1 Necrox in the tower, and he will be absolutely collapsed upon. No chance. Well played there for Nelio and Element Mystic as a whole to establish a decisive lead now. They've got to have a strategy, however, for the eventual site push. You see EG is still well positioned to hold on. But Canadian kind of gives away that position by rushing into the tower stairs and dying to Onichan, putting this now in a 2 versus 4. A shift over to the construction push for Element Mystic. They have foregone the entire main lobby. Sophia Charges will get the down on, well, the distraction and then followed up with the down onto BC. Young gets 2 though in the main hallway. He only has to find 2 more. 10 seconds left. The diffuser has to be being planted right now. The gas canister is too late, but might still do a little bit of damage. In the hallway, Young gets a 3rd for himself, and the 4th! Young with the clutch, and Evil Geniuses take it 6-1 in their favor.
6 uncontested round, 6 consecutive rounds, and the North Americans will advance on to the winners bracket tomorrow, and they will play the winner of Millennium versus Immortals for Element Mystic. They will find very limited success here, and an unfortunate day for the South Koreans. 6-1, and the only round, like I said, that Element Mystic took was the first round.
And 3 rounds in the series as a whole.
Young, that huge 4K, yet again, another clutch from Young. He started things off with an insane clutch in Border, and then ends them on Oregon here. And
Necrox with his own clutches as well. I mean, it's just